Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of two watches by Red8 USA. Now, it's about to get confusing. So, there's Red8, which is a watch brand that was Red8 World by a designer, Christian Badat, who's a very talented designer. And then that was a couple years ago, and then he came back with Red8 USA. What's the difference between Red8 World and Red8 USA? Well, it's kind of confusing. They have this idea where they want to make all these regional brands like Red8 China and Red8 Brazil and Red8 India, and each would have its own like color combinations and versions of some of these core designs that Christian Badat has created. So it's kind of this interesting thing. I don't really know what will come with it, but I do find his designs to be good, and I do find that some of the value propositions are definitely interesting. So I'm looking at a men's watch and a woman's watch from sort of Red8 USA. I'm just going to say Red8 because the watch says Red8. You can see right there, it doesn't say Red8 USA, but it's funny, on the back of the watch, it has, it's kind of amusing, like an American flag. And it says, you know, designed for Red8 USA by Red8 World with the American flag, and then it says produced in Asia. And I like that they're straightforward about it. With the pricing, that's totally fair. And honestly, for an Asian-made watch, the quality is really fantastic. But interesting, just interesting sort of set of text back there. It was cool. They make their own sort of custom rubber NATO straps, which actually work really well. There's two different versions that come with each watch, and this is sort of the dive one. Great texture. It fits really well, and I've never had a watch with this kind of rubber NATO, but it fits in there nicely, and it just makes for a really great look. So this is one of their dive watches, which is just called the Dive, and there's another one called the I think the 50 and then the 40. But that's again some of the naming conventions. But this is a woman's piece, and this is called the Scandal, and I thought this was interesting. And I asked, I was like, why is it called the Scandal? It's like, well, Christian Badat thought that the stones on here look so good, it was scandalous that they weren't real. And I thought that was very charming. These are Swarovski stones, and these are baguette cut ones. And I gotta say, the lighting in here is pretty intense, so you can't really see the sparkliness of it. But it's you know, it's actually nice. You got these big stones there on the dial, and then you got the ones in the bezel. And again, it's Swarovski's, basically, I think, cubic zirconium. But they look really nice. And again, the price is not super high. So I think it's a cool looking watch for a woman that wants that kind of sporty look. It looks like there's these two lines of text here. They're just sort of black. They're not. It does have the name of the brand. I'm trying to move it around so you can see where it says Red8 USA. And then it'll have, I think it says the name of there. It's kind of hard to read it. I'm like trying to look right here very carefully. Yeah, it says Red8 USA, and it'll have the name or some text about there. But it's kind of interesting. You know, it's going for this sort of sterile look, which is neat. I'm not going to put this one on because it's a woman's watch, but I wanted to show you that this sort of interesting alligator pattern on this rubber strap. It also comes with this is actually not supposed to come with it. It comes with a black one, but I just we felt that it would look cool in this white one as well. So you could put on a white one or a black one. It looks kind of neat there, but I just thought that was interesting. So again, this is the Scandal, and this is a 38mm wide watch, and this actually has a Japanese Miyota 9015 automatic movement there, which is quite a good movement. So as a woman's watch with a sort of sportiness, with this kind of like nice little, you know, these stones, I think it works pretty well. And this is retails for $1,195. Okay, so again, this is the Red8 USA Scandal, and that's for women. So let's get to the men's watch. This is a 42mm wide watch, and I think men are going to be a little bit more interested in this. Again, this is called the Dive, and it says it right there on the bezel, Dive. There's the 40, and then there's a watch called the 50, which basically have the same case, but they're steel. The Dive one is titanium, and it's quite light and nice. And the other ones have slightly different dials and things like that. So but overall I like this. There is an aluminum insert here, but I like, as you can see, there are some recesses there where the text is, so it's not completely flat, which I like. The dial is attractive, very legible. You see some texturing there. There's an upside down magnifier crystal there, so you can see the day a little bit more easily. This big crown, it's kind of coated in like a plasticky rubber substance, which is nice. Not having the crown guards gives it a little bit more of a vintagey style look. Again, for the price, the quality of the case is very nice. It's very nicely cut titanium, nicely polished. I like the bezel. It's got these nice click to it. Inside this watch, I think is a Miyota. I think it's an 8215, which actually isn't as modern a movement as the movement in the Scandal, which uses the 9015. So I think that's kind of funny. So these might get the 9015s in the future, but right now these have the 8215s, I believe, which is a slightly older mechanical movement, but it is an automatic, and I think for most people it's going to work well. Let's put that on the wrist. Again, this is a 42mm wide watch. I think it's very attractive. This particular version has that red and blue bezel, you know, Pepsi-esque kind of colors there. There's other models as well. I just thought this was neat because I don't have a watch that has these colors. As you can see, the dial legibility is good. There's some quirky things on here that kind of annoy some people that want a very serious tool watch. So, for example, there's a certain amount of text on the dial which is supposed to be there for it to look sort of attractive and symmetrical. And one of them says like 40 hours of power reserve, which is just kind of something to say there. You know, that doesn't need to be on the dial that say 40 hours of power reserve. So some people get annoyed that that's not necessary. I would argue that most of the text on watch dials isn't necessary. Again, this titanium version is joined by a series of steel versions that are not called the dive. They're either called the 40 or the 50. And like on the 40, for example, right here, where it would say 40 on the bezel, it would just have spelled out 40. And on the 50, it would have spelled out 50. They're all dive watches. I think they're water resistant to 200 meters. So it's not like a professional dive watch, but for most purposes, these are going to be totally fine. And again, this is sort of a fun kind of lifestyle sporty watch, and I think it works really nicely. So again, this is the Red8 or Red8 USA 50. I'm sorry, dive. This is the reference is the US 101, and the retail price for this is $895, which I think is pretty good for what you're getting. And you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch soon. Thanks.